Nope, you did not read that incorrectly. It is literally as the title it says. This is a KOF game that you could no longer play anymore. Well, to be more honest, it's a mobile game that involves KOF characters and a lot of other things that we're going to be talking about in today's video. So yes, today's video is technically all about KOF All Star, a mobile game that I put a lot of time and hours into it, and during the final days before it technically got shut down, I wanted to really cover basically this game and, well, let's just get started to talking about it. KOF All Stars was created by Netmarble and then was published by SNK throughout these interesting release dates right here. In Japan, it released in July 26 in 2018 and 2019 of May 9th in Korea, and within the same year, it was released worldwide for iOS and Android users on October 22nd of 2019. But here's an interesting thing though. About a few years later, more specifically in the year 2022, at February 10th, they then released a PC version of the exact same game. So you may ask, what kind of genre is this game? Well, it's an action beat-em-up RPG game, surprisingly. So no, it's not a fighting game, but it's an action RPG beat-em-up game. So there are RPG elements into this, which I'll explain. Then there's, gameplay where you literally see a majority of the characters in this game literally played as a beat 'em up characters, which is pretty interesting considering the collab characters that they even got in here. And there is one more part of this game that you should probably know about. It's also a gacha game. So for those of you who don't know what that means, I'll explain. If you're all familiar with games like Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail, or another game that kind of does something similar to this is Street Fighter Duel. A gacha game is basically where if you want to basically have more characters into your team or into your units or anything that involves having multiple characters together. And okay, that's like the poor way to explain it, but essentially if you want a game where you can have a lot of characters, I should have probably said that better, you kind of have to collect them by random RNG. So I'll get to that as well. But basically, it is an action RPG beat 'em up game with gacha elements. And believe me, getting some of the rare characters, especially the collab characters, is not exactly easy to do. What's also interesting is that during the video's production, I was actually able to get to the very final days of this game lifespan. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, again, I'm gonna get to that all in this video, but there's really a lot to talk about, and then you guys have to kind of more or less see where exactly am I going with this, because there's a lot to really explain with KOF All Stars in here. So, you might be wondering, what the heck is the RPG element of this entire game? Well, allow me to try to make this simple as much as I can. So you notice the thing that says Flaming, Burning, and Rage with the blue wheel next to it? So essentially think of Pokemon, and instead of typing, it's based on colors. So there's the fact that basically there's a color that's stronger against this color. So if you see it on the top above the title, that you see the 5 colors where there's purple, red, green, yellow, and blue, you'll notice that even right now, you see Baiken, Nameless, and Lady Kim all have this giant red arrow pointing up. This means that you're about to fight characters that are in the blue typing, and you're able to do more damage and be able to destroy them with relative ease. However, if you see Terry here, or Blue Mary as you see here, that literally have an arrow pointing down, yeah, they could still fight, and regardless of, how level they can do, they will give very little damage and will receive more damage from the opposition typing they're fighting against. There's also the fact that there's defense, balance, and of course attack types for certain type of characters despite the coloring. So really, it's more about you have to choose wisely of which teammates you're going to use, and more importantly, what supporter, which you can see from Baiken right here, what kind of support do you really want to use. So yeah, it's not that complicated once you had the idea down for how this game works. And now to really go into the whole why is this game a gacha game. Because in order for you to get some of the characters, specifically like say Nightmare Geese or a really strong version of Terry or Terry's Buster Wolf Super, yes, you have to, play RNG to collect the characters and the supers, as well as a couple of other things in order to acquire them. Heck, you could even basically do the same thing with the regular summons, and you basically would be able to, well, be able to summon or do enough pulls to hopefully guarantee at least one of them. But granted, some of these characters can be pretty tricky to actually do so, including the battle cards as well. And even for the super ones, like, the specials, the Buster Wolf, or like a bunch of other ones. I'll explain about what card is which later, because you'll notice like there's a green label, then there's like a yellow one, then there's a purple one. And if you basically have summoned a lot of them, you basically can acquire diamonds. You could also use with the supporters if you use them in the game, friendship tokens or points. Then you basically collect items for capsules, ores, element souls that help power up your characters. And of course, there's the loyalty reward if you basically do a lot of pulls. So let's see what can I pull this time as it basically reaches to the end. Let's take a look. I would be enjoying the game if it wasn't for the fact that it was going to be shutting down soon. Hey, look, it's Moonkai, or as I like to call him, Oreo Oni. Yes, he just looks like Oni, but I know what he actually is. Oh, hey, Omega Rugal. Oh, hey, and a memory for Nightmare Geese, as well as a couple of souls. Yeah, basically, when you do a lot... Ooh, that's pretty cool. So basically, when you do a lot of these things, you basically can acquire memories and, of course, souls, so that you could basically level up the character. So, like, for example, just recently I got Rugal here, so I got a memory for him and extra souls, so that way I can level him up to level 90. And, oh, Hopeful Hotaru. That's pretty cool. Let's see what else we can get from you. Oh, okay, and this is where you start to notice, you get chunk pulls. But, yeah, let's just skip ahead to the battle cards at least. I could be enjoying this, but, okay, I guess Nightmare Geese is... I guess the game wants me to be a Geese main. Alright, let's just get to the point with this. Hey, yo, it's my buddy Eclipse from 2001. Well, I managed to get Duel on, but not Terry. So, let's see if we can do something if anything picks up for the battle cards. Also, you also have to use rubies, but mind you, they cost 300 less compared to it. So as you can see, you can get, like, I got a super for Benimaru, something special for Leona, the rest is all junk cards, another pack of junk cards, which also, by the way, you could also run out of room of holding out the cards, so you have to sell them. Oh, there you go, there's something for Terry, and there's my reward for doing that many pulls. Alright. Oh wow, it gave me Virtual Fighter, Kim Cup 1, and Luong. This is so funny. Alright, please, can I get Terry? Oh, come on! Yeah, this is what most people have to do in order to get what they wanted. Akula? Oh, there we go. There's the memory for Terry. That's what I wanted after, what, 10 minutes ago already? Alright, moving on. Also, if you were able to log back into this game, I love this little thing that they also did here, which was the look back to my record feature, which honestly, it just shows you a complete analysis of how many chapters you've done. Well, it will show you right here, like chapter 1 fighter, how many fighters you've owned, combat power, first awakening of the fighter, level 90, rubies, gold, AP consume, auto tickets, time attack, dungeons played, which is most played, ranks on online and summoning and vice versa. It's a nice little thing to to see here. Now let's talk about the story mode for KOF All Star, and honestly I really think this is really cool. So to give you an idea, you meet these tuner characters in the very beginning and they basically just see you, well, this formless OC entity, to essentially just be in the world of KOF. You enter the world of KOF as this unknown OC that kind of has like a big influence. Think of it as a big what if, like, oh, what if you were part of the KOF series? And yes, it's not canon. But you do start off with the Orochi Saga from 1994 to 98, 1999 to 2002 with with the Ness Saga, and then you see only two chapters for the Ash Saga, which involving 2003. But as I was able to progress the game and finish the 2003 chapter and made it to this one, it turns out you could actually see the story of KOF 11 and KOF 13 here. But they kind of just speed run this. So instead of like just, oh hey, we'll fight Terry and Mai or whoever in the other games, no Jeanette interaction or Gato or whatever, you kind of just only meet the bosses. You fight the two bosses on KOF 11, you fight Moonkai again, Saki with the red crimson looking, nude looking thing, Dark Ash, and yes, they even do their own ending of KOF 13 in their own way. Which, honestly, it's like they just decided to do the exact same thing with their own OC character. Like, look at this. Like, I don't remember like the Wary Colossal thing, like, being a part of KOF 13. And if you don't believe me, check this out. Yep, that's how the story ends. It's okay. And then there's Epic Quest, and I'm gonna be straight with you. This is basically KOF's very own version of What If. Like, literally their own version of What If, where, yes, you see that right there. That's a mecha version of Mecha Ginowitz, or Goetz? I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Then there's Bolsorochi, and super OP powered brainwashed Saisu, and of course, a brainwashed version of Maxima and vice versa. So, yeah, this is basically What If for them. And in case you ask, no, I was not able to complete this part of the story. or this particular mode of KOF All Star. Epic Quest required that not only did you needed to level up a lot of your characters or well your teams, but you also needed to have really strong stats that you could acquire for HP, attack, and defense that you had to consistently play in this mode over time, and that doesn't carry over from a previous story chapter or nothing, only that you only have to use it specifically in that chapter. So there's chapter 0, chapter 1, and it got way more difficult to the point where not only did the levels look impossible for you to acquire to, but it was more like you had to be very consistent of grinding, and you had to always keep on the fact that you had to wait until you had to replenish your AP, which was again the way for you to be able to do anything. And if you wanted to progress through the stages, but you didn't have like a certain ticket or anything, or a specific item, you needed to use rubies. And to get rubies on a consistent basis, you needed to spend money. So, yeah, you could take away for the fact that this was one of those other modes that if you really wanted to progress pretty fast, you're gonna have to cough out some cash or something. Give or take. That is if you were lucky to even beat any of these things. And now we go to the Transcendence Dungeon. So just to right off the bat, these are dungeons, or specifically dungeon battles that you're able to venture towards to. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, just to be straightforward, I have no idea anything about Chapter of Fight or the plugin stuff because I was unable to do any investigation or have any idea what I was supposed to do with that. But to get to the point of what is that I can talk about, during the Yashiro one that you see right here, you're able to unlock a specific version of him if you have enough, say, if you challenge it enough and you basically have enough of his souls to unlock him. You're also able to unlock his unique super, which can also be applied to other Yashiros. Then there's the Mecha Genowitz battle where you can collect crystals and have an Epic Quest 2 ticket so that you can fight the, I'm assuming the boss rush versions. And like I said, I have no idea what to do with the plugin dungeon that you're supposed to do here because I literally do not have any fighter or even at the time AP to really do anything with it. And as I mentioned before, Chapter of Flight, I'm assuming this is based on like, oh okay, if you have a certain level and certain like characters to be able to work out. I could be wrong. Now the whole of Elements is a very interesting thing. You get to fight these elemental bosses, but you have a time limit of each character that you have on your team. After 20 seconds or so is gone, you go on, and once all the 20 seconds are gone, they are gone. Now let's talk about Soul Quest. Soul Quest is actually the easiest way for you to reach your character up to level 90. But in order for you to go through that, you have to literally first do the normal version, then the hard, then expert. But as you can pretty much tell, I managed to make it up to Terry, up to hard, just to be able to unlock the expert Soul Quest battle. And how does that work exactly? Well, I'll show you. And you need tokens for that as well.
Get ready. Ready, fight! Kick back, body! Ha! All right, you win.
And with that, we're able to unlock the higher difficulty. And mind you, this is pretty much what you want to spend a lot of time just to level up your character, just to reach up to level 90. And to also be able to have a little bit more extra souls for, you know, for resources. A lot of people do this a lot. And now we go to the battle section of the game. Or to be more precise, the online of the game. And no, I was unable to find anybody to play against because I wasn't able to. And not because it wasn't just able to, but it was more like I really don't want to deal with this game online because oh god, online for this game on a mobile phone is not fun. But I will give you some ideas as to what you can do here. Dream Match allows you to basically rent characters based on where they come from. So the bosses, special signature, the guest characters from say Tekken 7, Street Fighter, and everything else. You can choose any of these characters, and then you get matched up with an opponent, and you get to use them based on however you like. Like, literally, you could have your own dream team here based on picking everything that's selected from the dream match. Honestly, which is really pretty cool. And if anything, I would have put Terry, Ryu, and Kazuya in the same team. Like, look, I'm putting Ryu here, or I could have put Akira as well. I like my boy Akira. And I think I was trying to choose a very specific version of Terry, I believe. Yep, there he is. There it is. But yeah, you could literally have your own dream match team even if you didn't own the characters. And of course, you could also have the preference to match with PC users only. But mind you, that's with a this is from a mobile phone. Now, Absolute War. This is something more or less like a, I guess you can call it like a CPU kind of battle type of thing. Because what essentially it means is you're fighting against characters, or rather teams that people leave behind. So for example, my attack team's power is 111,600, and if somebody has more than that, they can easily beat that. Then there's Championship, which again also means that I get to use characters that I actually own, but they do kind of reduce the level and the cap depending on what you have. They also can level up a little bit of the characters, but that isn't saying much. The same thing can also be done for League Season, but League Season is also similar to Absolute War, except instead of just fighting, oh, you know, a high-level defense team, you're basically just fighting against people who like, oh, this is your attack power, this is my attack power, let's see if I can beat it despite it's high or low. I have no idea what friendly match is supposed to be, but I'm assuming this is the lobby version of the game. And again, I wasn't able to find anything because, well, I can't use this on the mobile version for some reason. But yeah, and finally there is the Advent Dungeon, which there was way more things you could do with the Advent Dungeon. Events and everything, but apparently they had a boss showdown, and it's KOF 15 Omega Rugal. There are some unique modifiers to make the boss challenge very difficult or crazy to deal with, but I didn't get a chance to explore that either. So yeah, there's this thing as well. Then we have the battle cards. There's actually three types for them. There's the green, yellow, and purple type cards. So to make it simple, purple literally makes you do supers. Yes, this is also a gacha game where, as I mentioned before, this is a gacha game that requires for you to literally spend rubies or money to be able to acquire specific supers. So say you want to get Buster Wolf, Howl, Shokoken, V-Slasher. Yes, you instead have to get these by a gacha system. So no, they didn't come included with the character. Hell, even supers from the collab characters are also in there as well. And here's the sad part if you didn't get a chance to get any of them. If you didn't get any of the supers for the collab characters, well then guess what? You're stuck with a character that doesn't have any access to this at all. That's my only complaint, that you really couldn't be able to do so. There was a way that you kinda would be able to, but it also doesn't do too much damage. Then there's the yellow cards, where if you're able to collect a set, you'll be able to gain a specific increase of, well, a buff increase, depending on the level that you reach it up to. So say, yeah, what you saw there, your attack increases by 7%, this thing gets higher up, 30 chance to pull this, 10%, but the artwork looks pretty cool though, I'm not gonna lie about that one. Then there's the green cards. The green cards are basically known as option skills. And option skills can also be exclusive to certain characters, where there's even there's even cards where you basically get to use these for specific characters. And yes, there are some that are actually important to the epic quest, where you get to be able to use the sacred treasures and be able to have a card that literally allows you to do much with the epic quest. And the rest is just straight up level up junk and stuff. Then you have the imprint stones, which if you're able to awaken the character multiple times through different levels, you'll be able to equip these and raise up your stats. And literally, I do mean you can raise up your stats to a great amount. Not sure what the plugins could do, but I didn't really had a chance to really explore that. And as you can tell, battle cards do also wonders as well. So you might be wondering, if you've awakened a character but you want to extend their levels, how do you do that? Well, as you progress, you'll basically need to have these very unique memories, and depending on literally what you have, you need them to be able to power them up. You could also use these little defense and attack, and I'm not sure what it is. I think it's the life XP capsules to really help your character level up with their stats and everything. As you can see, I'm giving him like 100 more on HP, 119 on this, and I'm believing 99, yeah, 99 on defense. And yeah, to explain how this whole thing works is that, well, when you have fighters, you basically get to have fighter souls. And if you're able to have the same fighter again, you not only acquire their memory, but you also acquire their souls. Now, mind you, the whole grading goes from super rare to the bottom being the bronze. And poor Kim is literally at the bottom of the barrel here. But yeah, as you can see, the souls, if you're able to, will be able to allow you to essentially, well, unlock a character. And there were some events that allow you to do this, but mind you, since this is becoming at the end of the game, there was no way that you could possibly do that. But if you really wanted to get rid of souls that you really feel like, I'm not really going to use this, you could technically salvage them, or to make it easier, sell them. And as you can basically tell by the time that this game was loading up, there was a lot that you could really salvage from. Okay, there you go. Yeah, this took a while. But yeah, you see how much I was able to collect from that? And then these are the memories. The ones that look like they have the blank key thingies, you know, the 5 purple memories, the 3. If you don't want to use specific memories or character memories that you feel like you want to save for later, you could use them and basically use them as memory tokens that allow you to, well, gradually level up your character. But you still technically need the memory of the character that you're going to be leveling up more from the awakening status. So if you wanted to say, you know, make Terry go up to level 50 or 30 while within awakening, you still need to do all of those things. Now, how could you possibly get more memories if you don't want to do the gotcha thing? Well, if you're able to acquire through an exchange or through combinations. So, depending on how you use this, the combination allows you to simply combine certain memories together, or if you prefer to exchange instead, you'll be able to use some of the memories that you have here, exchange it, and then you'll be able to acquire it for a very unique memory. But of course, once you do this, you cannot get these memories back. So, yeah, be very well, actually, this was one thing that people had to be careful when considering to do this kind of thing. Then you have the infinity system. So what this does is essentially you collect items, specifically items that your character likes here. Notice the little pink smiley faces that hover around the item. These are items that the character themselves like the most. So for Terry, he apparently likes cup noodles. And you can, as you can see like a bunch of stages and a list found where you can get these. And as you level up, you get rubies, increased stats. And truthfully, this was another important thing if you really wanted to level up your character. It's a little tedious compared to like most, since you have to kind of go back and forth just to get certain things, but it's well worth it to really level up with. One thing to also add is that as you collect cards and of course characters, you also get to increase stats by using the Codex rewards. So if you basically go here, check your rewards, and then if you collect them, every single person gets a stat boost. There is a lot, and I mean a shit ton of characters in this game. Like, literally, they've chosen characters from all the KOF games, or rather just the ones that I think they picked from in some future later titles. Well, you'll see what I mean, because technically speaking, there's like a lot of characters. And to give you an idea, the gold ones are extremely powerful. Anything beyond gold, like purple, red, and vice versa, are the super powerful ones. Silver and bronze are like the somewhat mid to weakest ones. And no, I don't even have a tier list for any of that stuff. But yeah, they even included the designs from, well, or rather included KOF 12 versions of Mature and Leona. I'm going to assume these are the versions that I would say debuted before technically KOF 13 was a thing. And yeah, it even goes up to KOF 15 of all things. And then you got the special versions of some of the characters in the All Stars. well, exclusives. Well, that you basically have of Alice, of Geese, Andy, Mai, Leona, Chang, and there's even like literally like you'll see it here at when I get to it. Literally virtual fighter versions of Rugal and Kim Kapwan. Like, can you imagine like in the future we get a new virtual fighter game and then you got these two as guest characters because oh they were just a part of this thing. I mean, Virtual Fighter Rugal with Genocide Cutter is probably gonna be the scariest thing to really think about. So yeah. And then of course it also introduced the Lady Fighter variants. And yeah, that's Choi. What you're looking at is Choi. I don't know how they managed to do something like this. Oh, by the way, Lady Kokodeska, you know? The one that likes to throw tornadoes up in the air? I'm pretty sure some of you will be down bad to be like, oh, I'll let her cook. She can... You know what? I'm not going to say nothing. So yeah, this is essentially what they kind of just went with after, I'm assuming, SNK heroines. And I'm not going to lie, some of these designs are pretty cool. My particular favorite, however, is Lady Geese Howard. And then, of course, they decided to also make unique versions of some bosses. Like, Lord help us all if we ever get a true canon Mecha Genowitz with super armor, because I ain't dealing with that, buddy. They also managed to somehow include the Orochi outfit, or, you know, the that little thing that they gave for Yashiro later on. But yeah, they basically did a lot of unique exclusives for some of the characters in this game. And that's just literally the all-star rosters. Then you got the special signature characters, which essentially is the OP versions of some of the characters that you have in this game. And then there's the boss syndrome characters. And yeah, I like that they even capitalized that as well. They literally capitalized a lot on so many things that they know what their fan base is all about. Oh yeah, they even have, you know, unique versions of Clark and Ralph where they're Sentai Rangers. Well, you know, to make it simple, Power Rangers. But yeah, there is a lot of unique exclusives for KOF All Stars with this game, especially when it comes to unique versions of the characters and costumes. Like, why couldn't we get this one for KOF 15? A bunny suit, literally the same one that we see right here for Yuri, or this Mad Hatter outfit for Yuri. I mean, there's a lot of unique costumes. Hell, a Winter Shingo outfit would have been nice. But, you know, that's just mainly it with this whole stuff. If anything, I honestly wish that for the unique version, well, the unique variants here would have been costumes. And then there's the guest character section for KOF All Star. There's characters that hail from various animes, Samurai Showdown, Tekken, Guilty Gear, Dead or Alive, Street Fighter, Soul Calibur. I think the one that surprised me the most, however, was the WWE collab characters. I'm like, huh, okay, that was a very interesting choice. And even the story for that was kind of hilarious. Oh, and also Virtual Fighter as well. I'm not gonna lie, these were really cool to really have, but I definitely missed out the Soul Calibur, Virtual Fighter, as you can tell that I didn't came around for any of these. And trust me, I tried. I would have liked to have Akira, Ryu, maybe Jamie, or a couple of characters from these collabs that they had, but yeah. Heck, I'd even had a chance to get Kazuya. But yeah, this is pretty much all that they had here for the collab characters for KOF All Star. Honestly, pretty cool. And then years later, we get them in, say, you know, Chun-Li and Ken in Garul, City of the Wolves. Well, I mean, I know it's Fatal Fury, but I'm still gonna call it Garul. And then, of course, you also have Terry and Mai appearing in Street Fighter 6. Kinda hoping that at some point we may get more characters from either to Fatal Fury or to Street Fighter 6, but hey, that's just me trying to kind of put a baseless speculation on, you know, this thing. But hey, I mean, we got something after all of this, you know? Alright. I yapped enough as it is. Like, I already talked about the stats, the typing, and this thing and that thing. At this point, you probably want to see gameplay, right? Well, here you go.
力に俺様のフィーバーフレン
見せてくれる俺の壁をかけみか見切ったわ限界など知らぬどっからでも来な Let's rock
畳み返しかかった
見せてやる
畳み返し検討しない
You win
During the final days of KOF All Star, there was a lot of stuff that you could really do. Although, to be quite honest, what you saw here is like the bare minimum because there is a lot of events that this game ended up having over time. Then, of course, there was the final round roulette, which, to be fair, they had a lot of these. And there was like specific items that you're able to acquire, which I wasn't able to because during the final days, even before that, I didn't exactly have enough time to really get everything. There was like unique badges or something like that, but I like to hope maybe at one point if someone ever does cover this game as well, they kind of mention what that is, or at least if you know what any of those things are, leave in the comments below. So, dungeons, there's a lot of them. Event, challenge, transcendence, and power-up. But let's go with power-up first. So, as you can pretty much tell by the name, you go through various dungeons to level up your characters, unlocking their special abilities, stats with core, battle card that allows them to level up their super cards, their yellow and green cards, gold to literally pay to literally unlock everything in-game, and of course evolution to be able to evolutionize to level 90. Then there's the Transcendence Dungeon, which I will literally get to discussing at little later at this video. But yeah, there's also these. Then there's there's another thing you could also do, which is the boss showdown, which I'll explain also a little bit later. Then there's the challenge dungeons, which you get team relay, dungeons of trial, relay, and of course the Tower of Trials. Okay, I'm not even close. I was not close to getting to the very top. But mind you, as you get more closer to the top, so does the recommendation of attack power, or in this case, team power, for you to really reach up to. It also doesn't help for the fact that despite that you could reach up to the top, it really depends on like what exactly you have with your units. So say you have this color and you have this unit, but you have to have this amount of attack power to really go through. Then there's time attack, team relay, and Tower of Illusion, which for whatever reason I could not be able to unlock. And finally, as I mentioned, the mini games. And if you happen to be curious to know what they look like, well, here you go. And then, as of late June of this year of 2024, KOF All Stars, or rather Netmarble, makes an announcement that the game All Stars would be shutting down its service on October 30th, 2024. So meaning, as of this day, it is no longer possible to even play KOF All Stars, as its final days were literally around Halloween. So yeah, if you were able to play KOF All Stars before October 30th, then congratulations, you just managed to play the last final days of the game before it went offline. Or at least, you know, its service being ended around that date. But if you're trying to find it now, after that, then yeah, you're not going to find it anywhere for Androids or for iPhones because, well, it's pretty much just gone. And honestly, I am gonna miss this game. It did have a few things that I wasn't really much of a big fan of, like mostly just the outside characters or the tuner characters and such like that. I think the only one that I ever really cared about, honestly, was just mostly Noah or Winter, which she ended up going from like being this nice friend that you basically have at the beginning, and then she turns out to basically be evil, but not really. And the story is a bit, it's a bit, but it has its moments. At least like when it comes to that part of the story. But I did like that it was basically going with something like, oh hey, like what would happen if you were a part of KOF? Like they literally do that, and it's actually interesting to see like how it does pretty well with that to make you feel like, hey, like what would happen if you were part of KOF, and what would be like the aspect of it, like the what if scenarios and such. Heck, it even made you go to some of the band endings for some of the games, or like, well, for some of the story arcs for specifically with the Ash Saga. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, until who knows if no, actually I doubt that this game's ever gonna come right back. But honestly though, farewell KOF All Stars. You were pretty much the game that I enjoyed a lot on the go or when I was just taking a break. But let's be real, we all just played this game until KOF 15 came out. And honestly, I'm looking forward to Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. But yeah, that's it been for today's video. So I guess I'll see you guys in the City of Wolves sometime in the future. Bye! Okay, yes, it does sound like it's ending on a more negative note, but before I technically end this video, I do want to show you something that truthfully I want to really give a much better positive way to conclude it. And what better way is to showcase a super busted Terry beating up what I consider to be the most difficult bosses to go through. And mind you, this is the Super KOF 11 Terry that's like extremely busted and broken that I at the very end was able to level up to a huge amount. And if you really don't believe me, just take a look at it. But farewell, KOF All Stars. And with that, I leave it to you, Terry.
Get ready. 誰に行くぜ。カービュー手首を待ちねえぜ。目に焼き付けて死ぬがいい。どっからでも来な。